What is up, guys? It's Winterkills here, and welcome back to yet again another featured archetype video. So today we've got Monarchs. I figured we'd cover Monarchs and kind of look at an Ixie's Monarchs build, and similar to the build that I will probably be playing soon in the future. I did pick the deck up. I know somebody had mentioned that I kind of shouldn't. The deck may get hit in the near future, that I understand, but it is very cheap to pick up, surprisingly. It's just a few structure decks, and then just the red lighters, honestly, the only thing that really cost that much money. But I did appreciate the guy looking out for me, so. But I am going to pick the deck up because I just want something different to play, something competitive, something fun. I like the play style of the deck, personally, and that's why I wanted to kind of cover the deck and just kind of talk about Monarchs as a whole for the featured archetype, because we don't really cover Monarchs too much on this channel. I think the last few times that we've covered it were when I played the deck way back when the structure decks first came out, and I kind of just played straight domain Monarchs and just go for Majesty's Fiend. And when the deck played like that, of course, now there's a whole new play style to it, which involves the extra deck. You know, the big thing before was, like, you know, if you're playing somebody who doesn't have an extra deck, you're playing somebody who is playing Monarchs, and that's not the case anymore. And I think that there's a lot of innovation that's came into the deck, and that's why I really like it, and probably going to start playing it soon once I get all the cards for it, and once all those cards come in the mail. Can't wait for that. Nothing like looking forward to cards coming in the mail. But like I said, we are going over Monarchs, and as I mentioned, the deck has come a long way. The archetype itself has come a long way, thanks to the structure deck releasing not only Aether but Erebus, as well as Aedea and Eidos, just being some of the better cards that were released that made the deck relevant again, and not to mention Pantheism as well. Pantheism of the Monarchs being probably the strongest card that they ended up receiving out of all that support. Basically, you send a Monarchs Power Trap to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. That greatly boosts consistency for the deck. And Prime Monarch as well. I'm not sure if Prime Monarch was out beforehand or if it's a new card as well. I know a lot of these cards here and here were all previously released. But as for maybe Domain and Prime, pretty sure those are new pretty sure those are new as well as Pantheism. But yeah, I think the only relevant, you know, card that was Monarch, you know, before the structure deck came out was back when BA, and at least I think when BA was playing Ryza and maybe Caius in the main deck, just to get tributes off of the free special summons and kind of go for Ryza plays and, you know, kind of small plays like that. But the Aether and Erebus definitely have opened up huge opportunities, and as we can see, it's basically quickly become the top deck of the format. Basically, we'll go over the build here now, basically starting with 3 Aether, the Heavenly Monarch. You can tribute summon this card by tributing 1 tribute summon monster. So basically, if you have a Kuraz on field, or if you have a Erebus, you can get this on field, no problem. Or you can just tribute a tribute summon to Aether for one of these, just using 1 tribute. And if this card is tribute summon, you can send 2 Monarchs Power Traps in the deck to the graveyard with different names, or from your hand or deck, I guess, and special summon 1 monster with 2400 or more attack and 1000 defense. And the interesting thing about that is it doesn't have to be a Monarch, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But return it to your hand during the end phase. During your opponent's main phase 1, or during main phase, if this card is in your hand, you can banish 1 Monarch Spell Trap from your graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves, tribute summon this card. This is a quick effect. So this, with Stormforth, allows you to basically interrupt your opponent's turn incredibly by way of just tributing away their stuff for this Aether during your opponent's turn, and then you can send Monarch Spells and Trap from the deck to the grave, sending Pantheism, sending Prime Monarch, setting up plays later by being able to banish Pantheism, Search, Monarch Spells and Traps, or being able to setting up your Prime in grave just so you don't get OTK'd, or help for Ixie's plays, rank 5 Ixie's plays for Valkasaurus, Pleiades, Durendal, Shark Fortress if you need be, but it definitely does set up a whole lot of plays. And another thing I want to mention about this deck is the disruption power it has with Stormforth and Aether's effect as well. And then you can special summon out a monster with 2400 or more attack and 1000 defense. Obviously those that qualify are Erebus, which is more so than not the target that you're usually going to go for. Basically, with Erebus, he's just another 2800 body that you can get on field, but his own unique effect is that you can tribute summon him by attributing one tribute summon monster, so same as Aether. But his effect is if he has tribute summon, you can send 2 Monarch spell traps from your deck or hand with different names, then shuffle 1 card from your opponent's hand at random if it's from hand, and then or you can choose to shuffle from your graveyard or their side of the field. And that does not target either, so it can get rid of a lot of the Cosmo ships. Definitely a very helpful card in the Cosmo matchup, and you can definitely knock a card out of your opponent's hand on your turn 1 if you get this thing on the field and make them start with 5 cards. So that is very, very good effect right there. Erebus being one of the better cards in the deck. And we'll be playing 2 copies of Erebus just because I think it's alright at 2. I was thinking about playing 3 and maybe cutting a Kuraz, but I'd rather play 2 for now because I think it's a solid number. Playing a 3-2 split between Aether and Erebus, I think it just fits well. But yeah, his other effect is basically if this card is in your graveyard, you can discard 1 Monarch Spell Trap and then target 1 monster in your graveyard with 2400 motor attack or 1000 defense and add it to your hand. So you basically add this card back to your hand with its own effect just by sending a Monarch Spell Trap from your hand to the grave. Then you got Triple Kuraz, basically your main special summon target for Aether. You can go for Erebus for more damage if you can get him on field without using Stormforth, or Aether on field without using Stormforth. You can end up making a rank 8 play off its special summon, and then that's always a nice play to have. Rank 8, you can go to the Hope Harbinger or Felgrand if you're playing that. But Kuraz is basically the main special summon target for Aether. When it's normal or special summon, that's the unique thing about this Monarch, is that it gets the effect not when he's just tribute summoned, but if he is special summoned. Then you can target up to 2 cards on the field, destroy those targets, and if you do, each player can draw 1 card for each card that was destroyed, in their own possession. So if you destroy 2 of your opponent's cards, they get to draw 2 cards. If you destroy 2 of your cards, you get to draw 2 cards. And now the combo is usually you go Aether out to Kuraz with this on the field, so you'd search, and then this would be Chainlink 2, this would be Chainlink 1, you'd pop this and this, get your search, and draw 2 cards, then boom, like that, you've got 3 cards in your hand off a simple play, and in the process, you could have tributed your opponent's monster. Again, the disruption power that the deck has is absolutely insane. So that's Kuraz, and then basically if you use his effect that way, you cannot attack the turn you use that effect. Super Quantum Red Layer, it's kind of like a Cyber Dragon. You just get him on the field. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card. 2000 attack, level 5, fits very, very well. I guess it is better than Cyber Dragon because your opponent doesn't need to have a monster on their side of the field. And then he does have another effect when he is normal or special summon. You can target 1 Super Quant in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Super Quant monster in your graveyard, except himself, and special summon it, so you can help basically add the blue layer to your hand, or you can special summon the blue layer at 2000 defense, and then when he is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Super Quant card from your deck to your hand, so basically searches out the red layer. And I really like how the deck can incorporate this small Super Quantum engine involving the 2 red layers and the 1 blue layer. I've seen some builds that play 2 blue layer as well, and maybe a second E-Tally to go along with that, and they play the blue layer Super Quantal rank 3. I don't know what his name is, but it's kind of weird. And then if you want to, you can also play the red Super Quantal Mech Beast Magnalager. Interesting name. Because I've never really tried to pronounce these guys' names before. I just always called them, the red one or the blue one. I'm pretty sure most people do that as well, or maybe I'm just the only one. I don't know. But I do like the fact that the deck can incorporate this outside engine to make it more consistent. Although you could argue sometimes when decks do that, it's not that healthy, because like basic archetypes or small engines that decks incorporate Like I can think of a few that were like artifacts, trap tricks, you know, small engines like that that aren't in the own archetype that the deck is playing itself. It just kind of brings in those outside engines to play to make the deck even better. But next we have 2 Mithra, the Thunder Vassal. This card solved the problem where basically this card would get effect veilered and then basically shut down the whole play. You can just special summon this card if it's in your hand, and then you get it, your opponent gets a token, and you get this on your side of the field. So basically makes your Stormforce live for your Aether play during your opponent's turn by giving them that token. If they choose not to summon anything, you can still get this out just by attributing the token away if you need to at the bare minimum if they don't summon anything else. Very, very awesome card. Adia and Eidos for that combo. You normal the Eidos, normal the Adia, special out the Eidos, gives you that extra normal summon, and there are 2 tributes right there. Double Maxi for hand traps. Quick draw Synchron. I was gonna play the tuning for this card, but I figured I'd probably just be better off not playing it and just running the 1-up quick draw Synchron as being able to get out a free level 5 tuner. Not only for the fact that you can use it for level 5 synchros, or not level 5 synchros, level 5 rank 5 exceeds with the instant fusion. You can get out Panzer Dragon and use that either for the red layer or this card to make rank 5s, but you can also use it to summon Ultimate Zolkin. Setting a prime will get you a Crystal Wing. So that is a very awesome combo that I'm very fond of, and I really like that innovation that the deck has. And like I said earlier, it's way better than just the classic Domain Monarchs, which was just, you know, get Domain on board and then maybe go Eidos and then tribute summon for a Majesty's Fiend or Vanity's Fiend, whatever, and just locking the board down and then just playing, you know, very simple game state for the rest of the game. I like how this deck has a bunch of different ways to play, like we said, the Quantums, and now this quick draw play being very unique, and be able to summon out Ultimate Zolkin to go for a Crystal Wing. I think that's very, very cool. 3 Pantheism, like we said earlier, draw power, and then you can banish the search or reveal 3 Monarchs Wild Traps, and then your opponent chooses one to add to hand. So you can reveal 3 of the same cards if you wanted to. Return to the Monarchs. Basically, anytime you tribute summon, you can add special summon the monster in your extra deck while you activate this card. So that's not always a big deal because you're not going to be able to, overlay every single turn. It kind of comes up when you're kind of going for game. You don't always need to, but this allows you to basically search any monarch, basically regarding the stats, if it's 24 1,000 or 28 1,000. Tenacity, main searcher, Stormforth, we all know about this card. Cleaforts, we're playing it for a little while. Now it's finally found its home back in a proper monarch deck. Although you could argue Clifforts be still using this card with the Cliffort Demise variant that we see today. We're still playing 2 Domain, obviously not using it for the effect that if we have no cards in our extra deck and we control a tribute summon monster that our opponent cannot special summon in the extra deck, we are using it for the effect that we can gain the 800 attack during damage calculation only, and the fact that we can reduce a level of either Erebus or Aether. So that is very, very useful as well. Everything's very, very useful in this deck, I guess. 2 instant fusion, just to go for that Panzer Dragon to help out in those situations where you need that extra level 5 if you can't get it. E-Telly for the blue layer to get that out if we need to. And 3 prime, being able to recycle stuff and act as a recurring token on our side of the field that we can use to make rank 5s with. And then one thing I also wanted to mention, this deck does have a good fighting chance against Demise decks. And when I say Demise decks that just want to set a whole bunch of back row just by going turbo, not being able to special summon anything, of course, because cards of Demise, and then just setting 5 back row. With the Aether combo, the nice thing about it is that it does not have the restriction of just summoning a Monarch off its effect, although more often than not you're going to go for Karaz. But with Dark Simorg here, and I actually saw this, I think it was Blair Hunter in the YouTuber Grand Championship, they saw him summon this card out, and I'll be honest, I didn't know about this card either, but it's insane that you can just summon this thing out off of this during the middle of your opponent's turn through Disruption with Stormforth, and then Aether's own effect to all piece together and then you can send the Pantheism and the Prime obviously being your main targets for the Dark Simorg, and then basically when this thing is on the field, your opponent can't set cards. So basically stops them from setting anything unless they can't get over this, if they don't have like a Raigeki, or if they can't like summon out a Dark Destroyer to get this thing off the field. Very, very cool card. And then if you're playing the Quick Draw Singular on top of that, you can still summon him by banishing a Wind and a Dark from your graveyard. So you can banish the Eidos or the Erebus as proper targets, and of course the 1-up Quick Draw Synchron that'll be in your grave if you synchroed with it or overlaid with it for say a rank 5 or the Ultimate Zolkin. Extra deck, double Volcasaurus. Volcasaurus being a very volatile card because the deck can sort of OTK, but it can't always go through with the whole 8,000, so Volcasaurus very much helps out with that. Just starting off either with some very early damage through Volcasaurus, or just being able to put more damage on after attacking. Of course, he cannot attack directly the turn you use that effect, but it is very nice just to have that burn damage. So I think 2 Volcasaurus, I think is the norm for the deck, and then 1 Shark Fortress, 1 Pleiades, 1 Durandal, because this combos very well with Prime Monarch, so it has good synergy there if you have a face-up Prime Monarch, or Return of the Monarchs. Durandal comes in clutch. Super Quantal Magna Liger, might as well play it, why not? Strike Bouncers a 6, Ptolemy M7 is a 6, Beatrice as a 6. Double Gaia Charger, this card is definitely spiked up in price since this deck has become a thing, just because, especially the alties of this card, I think have gone up to like $50 a copy, because this deck is just running 2 of them, because it is very good to slap over top of any of these used up rank 5s or 6s to get the 2600 Piercer, and then we're playing the 1 rank 8 because we do have the option to make rank 8s, of course, through Aether and Erebus, and then Ultimate Zolkin, Crystal Wind combo, and the Panzer Dragon for the instant fusion. Now, besides the obvious, we know this deck, very, very powerful deck, and is doing very well in the TCG right now, and I think is doing very well in the OCG, being one of the top 3 decks of the format, of course. Very, very meta, and do I think it will get hit? Unfortunately, yeah, I think it'll get hit. I'm going to pick it up regardless, because it's honestly wasn't that expensive. Very, very cheap for a top tier meta deck. Honestly, I ordered 3 structure decks, 2 red layers, and 3 Karaz, 3 common Karaz, and everything was like 88 bucks, less than $100 for pretty much a top tier meta deck. And then I have pretty much most of the extra deck, like Volcasaurus comes in gold, Shark Fortress is a common, Beatrice is not that much. Luckily, I have a Gaia Charger I can borrow. I already own Ultimate Zolkin, Panzer Dragon, number 38, so Crystal Wing, kind of being the only other expensive thing. So probably if you needed most of the extra decks of it, maybe be like $100 for the deck. Maxi is probably just optional if you don't already use them, but those came in gold too. Gold rare, you know, prints making this deck even more cheap, and as well as it being in the structure deck too, making it readily available to plenty of players. But yeah, I think the deck very, very competitive, as we can see, and if it gets hit, depending on what gets hit, if it's Prime Monarch, if it's Pantheism, if it's Aether, I definitely think Aether can get hit, because that is a very, very big problem card, as it's not namely the card that maybe sticks out right away, but it is one of those behind the scene cards that kind of gets a lot of the work done to make the card, or make the deck that much more busted, and it has a very good matchup against Cosmos. I think it has a great matchup against you know, Pendulums or Draco Pals, and definitely a very strong contender. Do I think it's the best deck in the best deck of the formats? That's a tough one. I think Cosmo can compete with it pretty well. It just kind of go either way in a match. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for Monarchs and featured archetype. Very, very different deck as we've seen in the past. I like how the fact that it has evolved from kind of a mindless deck to more of a skill-based deck. And also, one thing I forgot to bring up is that this also another variant of this deck that is playing Brilliant Fusion, with obviously 3 copies of Brilliant Fusion and Seraphinite, and then probably Lazuli in the main deck, and then you have plenty of light targets to send, obviously Aether, Karaz, Aedea, Mithra, the list goes on and on of the light targets, and it just allows you to even get more normal summons, and it can set up some graveyard plays to put like certain cards in your grave if you need them there. Not always will you need them there, but definitely can be helpful. And I think, does Aedea have any effects when it gets sent to the grave? If this card in your graveyard, this card is sent to the graveyard, you target one of your banished monarchs or traps and add it to your hand. So that combos very well. So if you can send Lazuli and this to the grave, not only can you add yourself back a Pantheism or something that was banished, or a Prime, or a Return, what have it be, a Tenacity, you get an extra normal summon on top of that. So that is another outside engine that is being brought in to make the deck run even better. I'm not playing it because I think it's a little inconsistent. I don't want to have to worry about opening Lazulis. Of course, you can play the deck without it, or you can play it with it. It really doesn't matter. I like this build anyways, and I'm kind of preparing for the preemptive Brilliant Fusion hit, because let's be honest, more than anything, I think Brilliant Fusion has come up in more and more decks. Now this one as being used as another engine, another outside engine that does not belong to the deck that is currently in, just kind of being used as a booster, and I think it'll get hit. Whether it's Seraphonite, I don't know, they probably wouldn't hit Seraphonite. They'd probably just hit Brilliant Fusion to 1 or 2, depending on, you know, what Konami's feeling. But yeah, that's it for Monarchs. Strong, solid archetypes, come a long way from what it used to be, thanks to basically these cards here, 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 and here. And I think it's going to be a great deck in the upcoming format. I'll probably see its spot at Nationals, and who knows how it'll do there. I'll leave that up to you guys to leave me your predictions, your thoughts on the archetype. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this rendition of Featured Archetype covering Monarchs. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. Be greatly appreciated. As always, guys, Winter Kills signing out. We'll see you in the next one.